Hey guys, welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time joining the channel. You'll have to excuse my lack of energy today because I worked a total of about 20 some odd hours yesterday. So I'm a little tired, but Saturday is my only day in the shop, so we're going to push through. If this is your first time joining us, this is my 98 C5 Corvette that I'm building into kind of a one-size-fits-all track car. Primarily, it's going to be used as a drift car, but I still want to be able to autocross it and stuff like that, so we're going to see how that goes. I'm sure nothing will go wrong with that. I bought this car really cheap for, I think, $5,000 for a hot running car. It's got Brian Twilley Racing Stage 3 cam, and you know, it's got the valve springs, and I think it's got a trunnion upgrade, as well as, you know, the exhaust intake, basic other mods. It's got a pretty good tune. The car seems to run and drive really well. In previous videos, we put the drivetrain back in it. This car was wrecked when I bought it. The frame was damaged, so we had to pull all the drivetrain out, take it to a frame shop, get the frame straightened out. That's all handled. So now that it is running and driving, we're going through some of the growing pains. First actual mechanical hurdle that I've got to get over is water pump. Just sitting there idling, it never loses any coolant, but once you get it up, you know, 1,000, 1,200 RPM, it's just spraying water. So we're going to do a water pump first today, and I think we're going to do a shift linkage adjustment as well, because she's a little loosey-goosey, and I know that there's a pin that you can align the shift rod with the actual shifter mechanism. And if I'm not mistaken, this car's got a C6 shifter, which supposedly is a shorter throw and just like a little bit nicer hand feel, and it definitely looks better. So I want to make sure that that's all good and operational and how it's supposed to be. I think that's it. Enough jibber jabber, let's get into it. Alright guys, first things first, pop the intake, pretty basic. This is not going to be a how-to video, more of a, hey, watch me work kind of thing. I'll tell you one thing I am doing is we are going from the standard style LS1 water pump to one from a later model, and I'll show you why once I get this one off and out of the way. So now that I have all my hoses loose, what you're going to want to do is put a few jugs under there that won't catch really any of the fluid that's about to drop. We do have a hole in our upper radiator hose here. Go ahead and get a new one of those, I guess, because I'm made of money. Well, I have a sneaking suspicion that I didn't need to replace the water pump, that it was just this upper radiator hose, but I've already spent the money, I've already got it, and it's lighter, and it looks better. So we're gonna go with a new hose, or a new pump, but I'm pretty sure that's where I was losing my coolant. What do you think? Probably? So what could have been a 5-minute job is now, you know, it's a whole thing. We've got a few bolts to take out, pop that water pump off. I'm hoping I can just squeeze it up here without having to take the throttle body off. Not ever done one on one of these cars, so we will find out shortly. I mean, can you guys just scoot over a little bit? Be right where I'm working all the time. I don't get it. So this is a pump that we just took off the car. Big fat drum. And she just looks kind of crummy. But it does work. The car never got hot, but I was losing coolant. And I was thinking it was from this port, but it turns out I think it was just the upper radiator hose, and I couldn't feel it when I was running my hand up and down it the other day looking for the leak. So, a couple things that I don't like about this is this huge front drum. I mean, she sticks way out there, and your hose is running pretty much right on top of this thing, and I don't like how close it is. We're going to reuse the tensioner, we're going to reuse the thermostat, but I'll show you what we got to replace it. This is Guangzhou, Shenhao, or some Chinese brand. But this is an LS2, LS3, basically updated water pump style. I got this one in particular because it lets me reuse all of the current accessories. I don't have to reroute anything. Thermostat swaps over, tensioner swaps over, belts are all in the exact same spot, or hoses, outlets are all in the same spot. But look how much tighter it is. And I'll tell you, this thing's probably at least 30% lighter than this one. And that rotating mass, you know, it's not a lot, but it does add up. So, let's get all these accessories swapped over real quick and throw this thing back on the car. Well, shit. Comes to find out, LS1 thermostat hole is much larger than the LS2, LS3, whatever pump this is, thermostat hole. So, looks like I need to go on a part store run. Okay, ladies and germs, we are back in action. Got our new hose. I went ahead and got a Gates so that I don't have to worry about it. And ta-da! Realized that my shifting is not very good. Reverse, you really have to fight it to get it in. And I learned that there is an adjustment to the shift linkage here inside the car on top of the torque tube. So I'm gonna go get some tools together real quick and I'll be right back, and I'm actually gonna walk you through how to adjust this shift linkage. Okay guys, so I've got my T40 with an extension and my ratchet ready. So you're gonna loosen these 3 Torx bits, or these 3 screws with Torx heads. They are a T40. So I want you to watch this hole. You see where it lines up? Well, this is where mine is currently in neutral. So we're actually out of alignment. So the Corvettes on C5, I know probably C6, they've got this alignment pin, and it rides inside this piece of plastic right here, just hanging out for you, so you can use it to adjust your shift linkage. So the pin actually indexes inside this hole here. Okay, so I abandoned the idea of trying to film this process because if you're actually doing it for yourself, it's really, really straightforward. So you're going to rock this thing back and forth until that pin aligns and it slides all the way down. You'll feel it go through the first level, through the shaft, and into the bottom of this housing, and that's when you know that it's aligned. Now, you come through and you tighten your 3 Torx screws, and once you pull the pin out of that hole, just very easily slides right back into its housing, like that, and it rides there. So I've got mine in 4th right now. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna torque these 3. No need to show that. Everybody who's gonna run a torque wrench actually knows how to run a torque wrench. So there you go, guys.